an effort to make the front of my house fit better into my cemetery theme of my yard display, there's a couple things I'm going to do. Right now what I'm going to work on is a window treatment to cover up the big black holes that I have as windows in the front of my house. Got this printout that I got printed off my computer, off the internet, and made some measurements, and I'm going to transfer those to a sheet of foam, see if I can't mimic what I got here and better make the front windows look a little spookier than just big black square nothings. So here's my effort at giving it a shot. To get this to the size I needed to fit on the piece of foam, I just took some rough measurements of the original and just kind of multiplied it from there. So the frame is about 7 inches high, the window opening is about 6 inches high. So I'm working with about units of 7. So I just basically measured my foam piece, which was 48 inches high. So dividing that up into units of 7, I had about blocks of about 7 inches to work with, and that's basically how I multiplied the length of that. And the window is about 2 inches wide, so to go across, we're talking about 14 inches across. I ended up with a window that was around 40 by about 13 and a half. Seemed appropriate. That looked about the best. So then when I had my blank piece of foam, I just divided it up into 3s, and I cut out a template on a piece of paper that is the shape of the window, which was that 40 by 14 inch approximate. Centered it on the foam, just did a quick outline. This is going to be really sloppy, unfortunately, but that's how I got the placement all done. And then when I was happy with how that looked, got the hacksaw out and cut it up. It actually turned out really well, as you'll see here in a moment. Well, that looks kind of crappy, but you know, I cut up the foam already, so I can't show you how it was. That's generally the approach I took. I just took inches and expanded it and multiplied it onto the foam, and really it worked out just fine. Woo! I've never really been a fan of the boarded up window look. It looks good for some people, but I've decided to go this route because I think it's going to fit better into my cemetery scene. This is kind of a mock-up template I made for making the windows after doing my measurements off of that printout. So I'm going to show you the materials I used and how I accomplished what I've got so far. So let's have a look. So this is what I'm going to be using. It's a 4x8 piece of sheathing. I bought this many years ago when I insulated my attic, and I had a couple pieces left over. It's going to work out perfectly because it's all the material I'll need for each window. I'm only going to need 5 feet. So I'm going to have 3 extra feet of additional material that I can use to cut off pieces for trim and to build up a little more dimension in the windows and give it a little better look than just a flat, two-dimensional thing. As you can see, I've already kind of made a version of the window. I still need to finish it, but I'm going to go ahead and disassemble this and lay it out and put it on this board, and we can see. I'll just show you how I made it. So I really had to kind of think ahead and map out how I was going to get the window and the additional pieces out of one piece of foam. I didn't want to run out of foam and have to use like a different style of foam. I just don't think it would look the same. So what I'm going to do with this project is we'll take this apart and use these for measurements on that first piece there, and then we'll pick up where this left off and try and finish these windows off and figure out a way to install them so that the wind doesn't blow them off. been very useful to have an overhead projector and just project this onto my foam and draw out my windows from there, but I don't have one. So what I had to do, since there were 3 windows, just divided my sheet into 3s and then just kind of evenly divided the in-between spaces as well. Just kind of had to do a few measurements and do some kind of guesswork at how to do the curves on the windows, but it turned out good. So I've got my template there that pretty well matches the window opening. Well, I'm just going to save some time here and overlay the window I already have made up, and I'll just use that. Mark my lines. It's a much better guide than having to start it over. And since a hot wire blade won't work on this foam, I'm going to use my hacksaw. What's nice about this foam is it's firm enough, it's sturdy enough that I can just start without having to drill a pilot hole. I can just punch right through there and it goes through both sides without doing any damage. Kind of nice stuff to work with. So here's a nice side benefit for doing the window openings this way. It'll come out. I end up with a tombstone. Yeah. More for the graveyard. There's a lot I can do with that. And I'm going to have 6 of them, so I can either leave them thin or double them up and make some thicker or more realistic looking tombstones. But nothing's going to go to waste around here. Okay, so now I'm going to make the most out of my leftover piece of foam, that 3-piece section. And so I'm going to get my top layer, kind of the architectural pieces that are going to overlay around the window openings. Just give it some depth, give it a little more character, just kind of like the printout has. So I'm just gonna pull off the ones that I have that I already made and lay them on this one and go from there. I just had these tacked on in place with some nails here just so I could keep it together, make sure it was working how I wanted it to work. But I don't need them now. Keeping things as close together as I can, keeping it compact and getting the most out of this last piece of sheathing. So here are the pieces. Now it's time to see how they lay out around the window openings. Hopefully they match up okay like the original did. The moment of truth. Do all the puzzle pieces fit in? Alrighty. So far so good, evenly spaced. Alright, I'd call that a success. And I just I'll tack these in. Still need some fill-in pieces along the bottom, and then it's going to get a little decorative recessed piece in here just to highlight the window shape a little better. Okay, so this is the more slightly ornamental piece I need to work on next. So I just need to cut this shape out, and then out of this thickness of foam, and then with the hacksaw I just cut it in half so it sits recessed in there. So this piece and this piece were once joined together, and they were just shaved in half, and then I just kind of split them and used them on either side, and that gives that a little more detail to the window. I think that was sort of part of the original design. I don't plan on going overboard with detail on the windows, but I'm going to definitely add that little element just because it looks nice, gives it a little more authentic look to the windows. I just think that's really going to finish them off well. So what's going to make doing that design a little easier is I've got scrap that came out of there. It's already the right shape. All I have to do is create that little design, carve it out, and stick it on. Couldn't have been any easier. That's why I kind of took the time to lay this out, think it out, and keep all my pieces. I wanted to be able to, not have too much waste, but I wanted to make the most out of the piece of foam that I had. It's kind of a good way to approach projects. Actually, mainly just to make it easier. It made it a lot simpler if I have the right shapes already ready to go, and I don't have to remeasure and reconfigure some sort of a curved design. Making a curve, matching what's already there, not that simple. Better to use what you've already got on hand. So don't throw this stuff out until you're totally done. Well, I'm going to stop this video right here for a couple reasons. One, I don't have any more design elements that I was going to do to the window. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. And two, this video is getting kind of lengthy, so I'll just call this part 1, and I'll do a part 2, which will be the assembly and painting and installation. But if there's something, I would love to have some feedback. If there's something you think I should do more of the window, let me know. I'm just going off of the printout I had. It's pretty basic, but I liked the design and the shape of things, so I thought it was going to look really nice outside. But if you think there's something else I could add to it, let me know. But I think I'm going to run with this. Alright, well, thanks for watching.